now to Develop or Die, our programme series with a dramatic title explaining that you have to stay ahead of the competition. We turn now to India, and Leo Johnson looks at the frantic efforts the country is making to transport goods, people and services by the billion.
Hello and welcome to Develop or Die, the program that aims to get an inside view on the day-to-day reality of life in developing countries. For emerging markets, if trade is the engine of growth, there's one thing you've got to get right: the ability to move stuff, goods and people, fast and cheap from point A to point B. And it's this transport infrastructure that now forms a vital new part of the Government of India's investment program. But is there a price? Are there some whose interests are getting sidelined in this push for progress?
और मेरी बेटी को कैरी करके जाना नहीं पड़े और मेरे को इतना जल्दी भी सुबह करना नहीं पड़े और टाइम पे ये लोग पहुंचा देते और गरम खाना भी थोड़ा एटलीस्ट और होम फूड मिलता है इसलिए.
Each weekday morning, 5,000 lunch delivery men, or dabbawallas, deliver some 200,000 home-cooked meals from the suburbs to workers in Mumbai city centre. Then collect them in the afternoon. Their loss rate, 1 in a million. Most of the dabbawallas are semi-literate, but the system they use is fiendishly unfathomable to the outsider.
वो हमारे जो कोड गिरा है उनने वो कोड लगाया डब्बे पे वो पहचान के हम लोग हमको सिखाते हैं ना वो लोग पहला 15 महीना भर सीखने को लगता है कोड कैसा पहचाना कौन सा डेसिमल पे देने का ये नंबर कौन सा है हम लोग को पहला सिखाता है इसलिए हमको मालूम पड़ता है.
It's a system that business magazine Forbes ranked in efficiency in the same category as high-tech companies like Motorola. But at its core, the business is a workaround, figuring out how to adapt to the often failing colonial and early post-colonial infrastructure that is a feature of much of the subcontinent.
For the first 30, 40 years after independence, it was the state that undertook most infrastructure projects. They tried, in the 1990s, tried getting the private sector involved. There are a number of high-profile sort of failures of private investment where there was allegations that the private sector had got deals too favourably, that it was unfair that profits were paying high prices for water or electricity. There was a lot of suspicion about too much private sector. And now it seems to be finding a balance, and there's public provision, private provision, or partnerships between the two. I guess it also reflects much wider political trends.
One of the major challenges which India needs to overcome is to have a realistic assessment of where they're heading. I mean, it's all well and good for us to say that we're going to catch up to China and to say that we're going to do 2 trillion or 3 trillion of development over a 10-year period. But that requires meaningful planning, meaningful integration between a lot of different agencies, which I think is beginning to happen now.
Indeed, India is now planning to spend some $1 trillion from now until 2017, and has raised its investment in infrastructure from 4% of the nation's income to 9%. Much of the spend will be a combination of public and private money, and aimed mainly at the nation's highways and cities. New Delhi, the capital of India, has over 11 million registered vehicles, more than all other Indian cities put together, and the region loses nearly 420 million man-hours every month due to traffic congestion. So, the Delhi Metro, rapidly becoming a landmark, it's single-handedly trying to transport this 1,000-year-old city into the 21st century. It already carries 1.5 million people every day, is still expanding, and the aim is to double its size in the next decade.
The Delhi Metro itself will be bigger than the London Underground. And we would have done about close to 419 kilometers, with billions of dollars of investment. That would take care only again of a part of Delhi's problems, because Delhi as a huge metropolis and with growing numbers coming in every day, the challenge of urbanization in Delhi and the challenge of urbanization in our large cities is huge.
And the metro has already made a huge difference to people like Rajinder Singh, a shopkeeper in congested Old Delhi. He's now looking at hiring 2 more shop workers.
मार्केट ਨੂੰ बहुत बेनिफिट होया है मार्केट ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕਸਟਮਰ ਵਧਿਆ ਮੈਟਰੋ ਦੇ ਆਉਣ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਕੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੱਦ ਤੱਕ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਪਰ ਡਿਊ ਟੂ ਮੈਟਰੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਸਟਮਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧ ਗਿਆ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਡਬਲ ਟ੍ਰਿਪਲ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ
Commuting is also safer, especially after dark. No small thing in a city that has the highest rate of crime against women in India. Mandeep Kaur works in a call center in the satellite city of Gurgaon. She takes the metro every day.
I mean, why it takes so less time, you know, as in if you're going through car or even if you take office cab, it takes 2 hours. And in metro, it just takes 50 minutes and it's the safest mode. So I think if metro was not there, I would be able to work. Even my in-laws won't allow me, I think so.
It's a good thing to get people off the road and into a mass transit system, especially because you can reduce emissions, not only CO2 emissions, but also pollutant emissions, and you can reduce your dependency on oil. And that essentially is good for your energy security. On the other hand, it increases the livability of your cities.
So an all-round good thing then. So much so that 2,000 kilometers to the south, Bangalore is also building a new mass transit system. Travelling to and from work using public transport here was so time-consuming that some companies set up what are in effect rival systems. This company organises a huge bus network of 110 buses. They ferry over 4,000 employees to work every day.
You know, if you take the regular bus, you kind of, most often you don't even get a seat. So you have to stand and travel, and by the time you reach, you're really tired, you're fagged out. If you got an early morning meeting, you're just not fresh for it. So this is very convenient. You reach, you're fresh to work, and you know.
Yet there's a catch. Many of Venisha's colleagues can't afford the $35 a month charge for using the bus service. They still prefer travelling by public bus, as it costs less than half. To try and ease the traffic chaos, an expressway has just been built, connecting the centre to Electronic City, one of the IT hubs that have put Bangalore on the world map. It's cut commuting time by half, but proving the adage that you can't please all the people all of the time, it's regarded as ugly, environmentally unsound, and not a long-term solution by many locals. Entrepreneur Rajendra Misra, who leads the infrastructure task force of the state government, believes that because the expansion of Bangalore took them by surprise, local government has only just woken up to the challenge.
Unlike other big cities of India like Delhi or Bombay, Bangalore had been a small town. But the last 20 years has been tremendous growth, especially the information technology and research and development units, aerospace research. So we were 3 million. And now we are close to 8 million. That's a huge growth. So I think, with metro coming along, more public transport, because building more roads and widening roads is not a solution, which had been tried in last 4-5 years, and that won't work. Wider the roads. Look at London. You don't have to widen the road. In fact, we are making the roads narrower, but increasing the public transport. And that's what we are trying to explain to the political leaders as well as our engineers, because many of them do not have that experience.
Outside the cities, national government is opting for bigger is better as well. Across India, a huge network of motorways is under construction. It's one of the world's biggest public-private partnership programs, aimed at giving the country 15,000 kilometers of new roads and highways, at an estimated cost of $30 billion. Many in government believe the new superhighways will have as great an effect on India as the railway connecting the east and west coasts did in the US.
It's a major development. It has its own challenges and it's already had a major impact. I mean, for example, our company has developed one stretch of it, which is the Delhi-Gurgaon Expressway, one of the major stretches, and we handle, I mean, pre-development of that road, the traffic may have been, 20, 30,000 vehicles a day. Post-development, we now handle almost 250,000 vehicles at the entry point of Delhi.
But across India, a number of farmers are protesting against their land being acquired for infrastructure projects and the government's acquisition policies.
सड़क बनाए ना तो ये खाएंगे क्या? सड़क बनाएंगे तो पेट में क्या खाएंगे? और इतनी महंगाई बढ़ रही है, इतना तो दाम भी नहीं है, इतना महंगाई बढ़ रही है।
हम सरकार से चाहते हैं कि वो जमीन जो है तो किसानों के हित के तहत योजना के तहत ले और उनका जो है तो इच्छा के अनुसार मुआवजा दे, अथवा जो है तो प्रदूषण जो हो रहा है तो प्रदूषण पर नियंत्रण करे और बस्ती से नजदीक जो योजना जा रही है, रेल लाइन जा रही है, उस पर रोक लगाया जाए।
But just how much of a case do these people have? In part 2, we visit the villages of rural India to try and find out.